Hey there folks, it's time for another What I've Painted This Week update on my painting diary. I've been so busy over the last couple of days, or weeks in fact, that I haven't actually got as much footage up on the channel as I would have liked, but hopefully I can catch up. Alright, so this is what I've done for week 14, maybe 15, oh gosh, I can't remember, I should have checked before I started this, but I think it's 15. Right, so these are goblins. They are from the most recent Kickstarter. They just finished for TT Combat, and you've got goblin sneaks and goblin warriors. So these are the sneaks. They're sort of assassin-y type dudes, and I did a unit. I think it was archers, sort of bowmen, and something else. I'll put a picture up here in the corner if I find the pictures. Of the first unit I did, so this is the second and third units, or possibly third and fourth. My memory is shot to pieces. I've been so rushed off my feet over the last while. A lot going on over here. Anyway, so these are quite cool actually. The just little assassiny goblins. There's no command group for them, and there's 4 or 5 different poses. You got the one's stabbing, you got this one holding knives out, and then this one with the cloak. And then you got the one obviously with the heavy hooded section. And then on this side, you've got the sort of basic warrior dudes. They've all got shields, so just giving them a basic wooden shield. And you got this one who looks like he's chopping down with the axe. We've got a command group. We put it on because we did the sort of bow ones last time. Might as well carry on with that theme. So they've got the Skull Clan. These guys are all just giving them a sort of an overall theme. They're all obviously greenskins, but they're all called the Red Cap Skull Clan. Something like that. I don't know. I just, that in my head when I'm painting things like this, I tend to look at something and go, okay, what's the overall theme? What's the background behind them? And then stick with that theme, but make variations in certain stuff. So for example, the cloaks and clothes and stuff, I have different colored browns and shades of browns and purples and greys, things like that, you know. So it's not a unified army scheme, but they have certain traits. So for example, they all have these little red cap hoodies, and they've got red belts, where with, say for example, these guys, they got the red cap hoodies, and even the ones on behind, so for example, if you see like that, the ones that have their hoods down, they have the red cap hoodies. But these ones, because they're sneakier, they're a lot more darker, so they have more purples, blacks and greys, that sort of thing. Yeah, so there you go. I quite like the look of these goblins. They kind of remind me of the old school hobgoblins from Games Workshop. I also like it when goblins are not particularly big, you know, like say, I kind of feel like they should be a threat in combat, but not particularly large, you know, so they're not intimidating, and therefore numbers count for them. Well, anyway, there's another couple of units done. These are going to be going off to the company next week, and I'll show you what else I've done. So I've put this into a separate kind of section, I guess, even though it's for the same company, same people and everything. But these are the Persian Halflings. So the goblins that I showed you a minute ago, that's me done out of goblins to paint for now, I believe. I don't know. But I've still got some more Persian Halflings to paint. This is obviously the rocket crew. We've got the crew and the rocket itself with the engineer. I've kept the crew members the same color scheme as the rest of the Persian. I call them Persian Halflings, but they could be Tales of Arabian Persian Night Halflings, whatever you want to call them. I've kept these two the same color scheme as the rank and file, but I made the engineer with the blue. That's just purely to make him stand out. The rocket is funny. It's just a little rocket launcher type thing. But yeah, so I'm back on the Persian Halflings next. I've got some more cavalry and chariots and some other bits and pieces to do for this faction. So yeah, but this is another thing that'll be going back with the goblins. You know, just ticking them off the list, as you say, and then move on to the next. And talking about next, let's move on to the next. Alright, these babies are for a gentleman I painted some stuff for last year, and he sent me another load of things to paint. I think it's for sort of a Cthulhu Arkham Horror slash just horror roleplay game. Or I don't know. I don't really know what he uses it for, but it's a mishmash of stuff. Last year it was a mishmash of sort of Arkham Horror style stuff. This one is again, but it's added some other bits and pieces. So we got, for example, these guys over here. These are called the crawling ones or something from Arkham Horror. So it's just a big sluggy looking dudes. Everything he wants is obviously on clear bases, because I think he uses them on the boards themselves for the games that they came with, and of course for the roleplay and stuff. Basing is just nice and simple. I actually like clear bases, but I also think making bases scenic makes them stand out more. So I'm like a 50-50. Like I like all the clear bases, but then I also like having scenic bases. Anyway, these are a bunch of ghouls. I think they're from Heresy or Hassle-Free. I never remember which one, but I remember this fella. He's a big cave with Goblin King sort of thing, and then you got a various mishmash of other sort of ghouls. I mean, some of them are quite dark. Like for example, this one is a mama with a baby. That's quite dark. Really good though, really characterful. It really gives you that dark feeling. You've got a guy carrying some dude's leg. This is surely a child holding a skull. I don't know. It's pretty grim, but that's what makes them quite cool. Inverted commas, because obviously they're ghouls. They're supposed to be bad news, hanging out of the graveyard, chewing on people, eating them. So the color scheme I went for, I like, when I paint ghouls, I like to make them fleshy toned, but with a sort of a paler complexion, so that they don't go out in the sun very often, and also to have them very sort of in the grooves, very flake skin, like almost like you could almost see the veins sticking through, that sort of thing. So they're quite pale but dirty. It's a process. So it's quite the way, like I like the way to paint ghouls like that. You can't really tell, lighting's not great, yeah, but as usual, if you want to see better pictures, you can go to my Facebook page, Painting Nights. And I think that is all I've got for this week. I say that's all. That's quite a lot. That's 80 goblins. What am I talking about? 40 goblins, 4 halflings, and what was this, 9 ghouls or something, and 2 crawlers. So it's quite a lot of miniatures painted over this last 8 or 9 days. I got a lot more stuff to come. I got some more stuff for this gentleman, for these roleplay games. Some of the more bigger stuff and more obscure stuff. And then of course I'll have more halflings and all sorts of stuff. And I'm gonna finish off the last bits of the Game of Thrones for the Kaiser, and just keep rolling on with more and more miniatures painted. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll speak to you guys soon with more updates. Cheerio.